Hello, everyone. This is Tom, the Lone Wolf Prepper. Welcome to the Lone Wolf Prepper channel for my Sunday Night Live. I am having internet problems, so if I lose connection or my stream or whatever, but it seems really slow. So anyway, but anyway, I got a call just before I went live. I got to be up at 4 in the morning to start working cows. So this can't be a long live broadcast anyway. Hi, Carol. How you doing this evening? Anyway, last night, there's not much on the channel. Channel's growing stuff, YouTube stuff. I got to get to this because, like I say, I ain't got a lot of time. I got to be up at 4 in the morning to work cows. It's gonna be a long day again tomorrow. But anyway, I was watching Canadian Prepper last night and his video on lone wolfing and stuff. And there's a lot of misconceptions in the world about being a lone wolf, okay? Now, I realize people that aren't lone wolves don't think it would work because they couldn't be a lone wolf, okay? But I'm going to get into traits and skills that a lone wolf must have to survive, okay? And anything can happen, whether you're in a mag or by yourself. Anything can happen that can be tragic to you, okay? But I prefer a lone wolf. And it's just another way of dealing with SHTF, all right? But let's get into the traits and the skills you need. The first trait you need is the ability to go without human contact. That's obvious. Now, people can say, oh, that can't be done. You obviously need human contact. I mean, even a lone wolf through his travels is going to run into people. Okay, the mountain man came back out of the mountains, a couple times a year to sell his furs and stuff like that. Okay, there's women out, old widows out here that live in the sandhills, still on the places that they developed with their husbands, and they're out here by themselves 2 or 3 months at a time. Okay, these old women, yeah, they're tough as their skin's like leather, and they're tough as leather, and they don't need nobody. But that's the first guy, the ability to be able to exist without people. Now, to me, that's easy. I never fit in. Never fit in with anybody, so I was always off by myself anyway. I cherish my time alone. I can spend days and days alone. It's like I do here. I mean, you basically got to be kind of a lone wolf just to do the job I do in the area I do it in. But if you can live without people, that's the main thing. If you can deal without that companionship. Okay, I just have found many ways to entertain myself through the years. I do a lot of reading, stuff like that. A lot of outdoor stuff, always keep myself occupied. All right. And I always do it by myself because nobody wants to do it with me. So when SHTF hits, why do I need anybody else around if I've always done it by myself anyway? Anyway, another thing a lone wolf needs, your physical abilities. Okay. Yes, you have to be fit. Have to be in really good health. So you don't need anybody to help take care of you in case there's a medical emergency. I mean, I just haven't been to the doctor in many, many years. I'll just say that. But being fit is extremely important. Being able to carry your weight. And that's what I say by fit. Everybody's body's shaped differently. We're all not meant to be bean poles, but we're not meant to be whales either. Everybody's got a healthy weight. Carol Prince, when my husband is on the road, I spend my time alone. I appreciate my alone time. Yeah. Some people can't live without human interaction. I have a hard time living with human interaction. That's why I'm out here. I mean, if I had to live in a big city, I'd lose my mind. I couldn't do it. So Yeah, I appreciate my alone time too. Now, when I had my family, I was married, my kids were growing up and stuff. It still would have been just us family. I wouldn't have had a mag or nothing. But now that I'm divorced and my kids are grown and alone, now I'm by myself. Now, one thing about too, obviously, I was in the Marine Corps, and a lot of these traits and skills I got from the service. Well, I got them growing up and then in the service and stuff. I've always lived a life as a loner. I've always learned stuff on my to be self-sufficient on my own. That's always been my goal. Never have to depend on somebody. All right. Well, for physical abilities too, swimming, very important. It's extremely important because if you're a lone wolf and you're being tracked, water's a good way to get rid of the tracker. Okay. Wintertime, can you cross country ski? Those skills. It's just another one of the physical attributes that you need. Stay in shape and be able to do whatever you need to do to exist in the elements with your physical abilities. Okay. Your mental discipline. Okay. Now that's different for everybody. Now, a lone wolf usually has I hope I don't upset anybody, but a higher level of mental discipline because they're by themselves. They have confidence and faith in themselves that they can get through any jam by themselves without having to call for help. The mental discipline to control your emotions so you don't panic and get killed. Okay? You got to have it up here. In the mindset when SHTF hits, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. Okay? Especially, if you're in a more crowded area like me, I really don't have to worry about too much. But if you're in a highly populated area, and the people are your biggest danger, well, that's going to be a lot of mental anguish on you because you're always going to have to be on alert. That's one thing about me out here. I don't have to be on stage 5 alert all the time. But there ain't going to be nobody left by the time they try coming out here. Like I say, if you're not independent and you can't live on your own, there's no shelter for you out here. Everybody owns a house, probably has 20 guns. You're not getting in. You're not even getting up to North Whitman Road. So, but your mental discipline, you got to be in the right state of mind. And things are about to get really bad. We lived in a very spoiled country. I saw that the first time I came back from overseas in 1987. First time overseas, I realized how spoiled we are. And now we got all these people on medications and stuff because they can't deal with reality. They need a break from it. And that's the way they do it. Put them on these pharmaceutical drugs. Well, you have a MAG and you got somebody's on antidepressants or antipsychotics and they run out. Enjoy your MAG. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Make sure your brain's in the right area, okay? They have control of your emotions. Self-defense. Very important. Whether it be weapons, with your weapons, I'm a person who doesn't believe you need 100 guns. I believe you need a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. And you need to be proficient with all three. Just like they become an extension of your body. Okay? That's what they need to become. But I don't understand. I don't care how you prep, but I never understood guys that just have closets full of guns. How much ammo can you carry? This isn't Predator when the guy's got the Gatling gun and he just unloaded. You know how much that ammo would weigh? Besides the recoil, I'm not going to go into how stupid Hollywood that scene was. Okay, just like the Rambo in the M60. Okay, I held an M60. Okay, live rounds like that. My third round, it was up here, and I was a strong ass son of a bitch, stronger than Sylvester Stallone. But with blanks, you can do it all day long. But anyway, self-defense. Okay, be proficient with your weapons. If you're not proficient with your weapons, it just becomes a weapon for somebody else. You have 3 weeks. Go out and start spending time shooting. Go someplace where you can shoot. If you've been shooting all the time, take your guns out, clean them, and shoot them. Make sure they're sighted in. You got a 30-06, make sure that baby can reach a half a mile. And then get them ready. Okay. Not like Minnesota where you got to have your gun with a trigger lock on it, locked in a safe, and your ammunition locked up differently in a different room. I'm sure the criminals like that, Governor Walz. Thank God I got out of there. What a piece of shit. Okay. First aid. First aid's very important. Oh, wait. I didn't get done with self-defense. Self-defense, too. When it comes up to setting up your spot, know how to do booby traps. You don't need to be the Viet Cong, but know how to do booby traps. Know how to sit there. Prepperines. Sub, big guy. Thanks. But, like I say, you don't have to be the Viet Cong, but make sure you know somebody's coming. And I would set up booby traps that would definitely be like the Viet Cong. All right. That's just another weapon you can use. And then, of course, your own body. All right. Martial arts, I know a lot of people, I don't like them. You've never done them. That's why you don't like them. Now, I'm not saying a martial arts guy, you can't beat a gun. But if you get close enough, you can. See, this is the thing. When you fight a gun, you get in close. When you fight a knife, you're that far away. Okay? But, martial arts, learn how to use your body as a weapon. What's wrong with that? I always say they want to sit there and ban guns. What are they going to do? Handcuff and shackle anybody that knows martial arts or boxing? In this country, you're not allowed to protect yourself if you know how to defend yourself. That's a bunch of shit. Anyway, but that's part of defense too. And then you got your bow and arrows. That's a nice weapon to have. It's silent. Somebody snooping around your area, right through the heart, they drop. No sound, no nothing. Ninja stars, bro. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like I say, I learned that stuff because I didn't want to come home in a metal coffin. And I saw them babies the first time, and I learned everything I possibly could to make me better. And then through the years, I haven't stopped doing it. But, people will look at me, why are you doing that? It's so stupid. You'll never need that. Okay. Just like when we were in school and say, we'll never need that math. We don't need to take that class. Stupidity. But tell me what skill that you can't learn, that you may not use later in life. And just to have the skill. Prepperines, honestly, I was really thinking of adding a pellet gun to my arsenal for a low noise hunting tool. Oh, yeah, those babies. You hit somebody in the temple with them. Whatever it takes. This is the thing, like I say, when you're a lone wolf and you're out in the woods and people, hatchets and axes, you know how that sound echoes through the woods? It's terrible. Kind of like Bigfoot hitting a tree with the rock. But it's just small game only, obvious. Yeah. That's I'm going to get into that too. One of the skills is be able to get your own food and prepare it and uh, uh, process it and stuff. But anyway, self-defense. Because see, this is the thing. When they come after you, they're not going to care about how you feel. They're not going to care if you're crying or not. It's better to stand on your feet and die on your feet than die on your knees as a coward. But whatever it takes. I mean, if you get good at being able to whip a 2x4 around like a damn nunchucks, whatever it takes, whatever gives you the edge up. Okay? You know, everybody thinks, yep, I'm just going to be able to get them with the gun, the gun, the gun. It's not always going to be that way. If that was the way, there wouldn't be the thing called hand-to-hand combat. Anyway, now let's get into first aid. Okay, now you're going to be by yourself, obviously. So you're going to have to learn to be able to sew yourself up. You have to learn to splint your limbs if you have to. Obviously, anything major, internal damage, anything that requires you to go to the hospital, yeah, you're going to pass. That's when it comes time to make your peace with God, okay? But, you know, all these doctors, you go to the doctor, they make you sound, they're going to make you live forever. Who's lived forever so far? Nobody, right? You know, Christ didn't even live forever. Mankind took care of that. But with your first aid, you need your proper supplies, okay? Like I had that accident on the four-wheeler and stuff. And I need, you know, your ACE bandages and stuff. I just went to my first aid kit. I didn't have to go. I don't go to the doctor anyway, but I just went to my first aid kit and patched myself up. And then rest. And then now I'm back to working out, you know, getting everything stretched out again and say I always push myself. This is this thing with first aid with me. If I got a limb that's really hurting, I feel it's easier to push myself. I just work it out. Okay. I never found sitting in a chair dealing with pain ever got me over the pain fast. Going out there and exerting myself and maybe mental discipline and showing, hey, body, you ain't taking over. My mind's taking over. It just, that works for me. Okay. But that's with first aid. You need to know first aid. You should at least have a basic first aid course. If you're a parent, you need first aid. What are you going to call 911 and wait for the ambulance to get there and panic? You need a basic first aid kit. And I wouldn't go buy one of those, the ones that are all put together. Go make what you need. Of course, you'll need all this. Just make it unique to you, okay? And what your needs are. Don't be paying for something you know don't need. All right. That's with first aid. But yeah, that's a must. And then, you know, not only first aid for me, but I'll have my dogs and my horses with me, which I need to know their aid too, what their health needs are. So anyway, the ability to endure. What do I mean by that? To endure the heat, to endure the cold, to push yourself when you just want to drop. And endure mentally during SHTF, not seeing family, not wondering what's happened to family, your loved ones. That's what I'm going to be going through. That's going to be mental anguish on me. Like I say, when I get here to be a lone wolf, and then when the dust settles, I got a few hundred miles I need to travel. Because my mental anguish will never end until I get up to my kids. But anyway, the elements, you know, that's another thing. We're so, you know, we are so used to everything being so comfortable for us that when people hear there's a snowstorm coming, like on the East Coast a couple of years ago, and that snowstorm kicked in and all these vehicles got stranded on the highway, and people aren't even dressed for it. I mean, this should be part of your bug out stuff, especially in the wintertime. You should have, a blanket in the car and a pillow, yeah. But your clothing, your cold weather clothing, you should have it on. If you don't have it on, it's in the vehicle with you so you can put it on when you get out of the vehicle. You need to be prepared, okay, to endure the elements. Cold will kill you faster than heat will. I spent that winter in North Dakota cowboying. I decided then that hell was a very cold place because that hurt a lot worse than the desert. That was one cold winter that year. But anyway, you just need to endure because a lot of people just don't know how bad it's going to get. And that's, they talk about having your generator running and all this other stuff. It could get a lot worse where you're just worried about surviving. We get hit by an EMP, generators ain't going to help much, are they? Like I say, you need to eventually get to the point where you can survive back in the colonial days. They could kick us back that far. You never know. We live in a crazy time. But anyway, just be able to endure. Bushcrafting skills, very important. Okay. You need to be able to survive or have the idea, at least, how to survive in every climate on the earth. Now, I realize if you're living in the trees and stuff, you're probably not going to be too concerned with the desert, but you never know. Now, I was trained to fight a war in any environment, from desert to snow and everything in between. But bushcrafting skills, oh. I mean, I watch these videos on guys who do like the secret camping where they'll sit there and they'll do take their sleep. They're like camping right next to people and people don't even know they're there. It's crazy. But you need to be able to build a shelter. How to do that shelter, how to provide the fire in it right. Build a fire. Keep yourself warm. Okay? That's one thing about, bushcrafting. You got to know how to dress in all environments. Do you know how to dress in the winter? Do you know how to put layers on? I don't have to go out in Carhartts. I dress in layers. Now, if it was 40 or 50 below, yeah, I'll throw the Carhartts on. But 30 below, not usually. I dress in layers, and then I go out and I'm working around and I start sweating. Carhartts are just in the way. That's one thing I found out working in the wintertime. Go outside right away and do something to get your damn furnace going inside your body. And you stay warm all day. But the bushcrafting is for a lone wolf because I'm going to be living out in an environment. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to carry all this stuff. I'm not going to have a mag with me. So I got to live off the environment with the stuff around me. I got to build the shelter out of the brush around me. The shelter that can't be seen. I also got to be able to camouflage. A lot of stuff that goes into it. I mean, personally, like I said, my dream is to be living in a dugout in the place I plan on homesteading and living the life. Anyway, but yeah, bushcrafting. If you can watch videos on bushcraft, there's so many ideas on how to make a shelter. I mean, I've learned so many different ways that I never even dreamed of. And permanent fixtures and just, temporary fixtures. And these guys are smart. Corporal's Corner is a good one to go to for that. He was a jarhead. It's amazing. A lot of the YouTube channels I watch are jarheads. I never knew they were jarheads until I started watching their channel. I knew Corporal Corner must have been a jarhead, but there's a few other ones. Anyway, bushcrafting, like I say, be able to live off the land, all right? Be able to survive, travel. You know, that's one part of mine is I'll be nomadic. I'll be traveling. And obviously not environments all like this. And I'll travel in the wintertime if I have to. But that'd probably be safer anyway in a lot of ways. Anyway, that's enough on bushcrafting. Navigation. You must have navigation skills. You have to be able to use a compass. Carol Prince, Survival Living, does some great videos on bushcrafting. Yeah. It's a very, very important skill to have. And this is what I say, I've had this skill ever since I was that tall. We had a grove, I'd go in, I'd sit there and build forts and stuff. I've been doing this stuff since I was 5 years old. And now it's like a big thing to have a skill like that. There's so many of these skills I got just growing up. Playing outside at night. You know, shooting, all these skills I learned before I even left high school and went to the Marine Corps. Anyway, navigation. The compass is a great tool, best tool ever invented. You need to know how to use a compass. You need to know how to put it on a map, see where you're at on the map, see where you want to go, and see what way that direction is, and that's the direction you go in. Shoot an azimuth, walk to the point. Shoot another azimuth, walk to the point. Whether it be 100, a mile, or like out here, I could do probably 10 miles, shoot an azimuth, walk to the point I was looking at, and shoot another azimuth. But anyway, so and I was telling everybody, you need to get maps. Get one of those trucker maps, the laminated atlases. Yeah, it costs a lot of money, but you know what? If you don't have it and you got money in the bank when SHTF hits, you'll wish you had bought one. So go ahead and buy one. Those are very good atlases. All right. And then, of course, navigating by the stars, because there are times, obviously, it's going to be safer to travel at night. You need to learn how to navigate. GPS isn't going to work. I hate GPS. You know what? You shouldn't be allowed to use GPS till you can teach you can use a map. People driving off bridges that don't exist and stuff. GPS. I will never put my life in the hands of ones and zeros. Ever. You have to, but yeah. But you got it. Anyway, and then I want to make a video about this, but I don't live around trees. If I lived in a forest, it'd be easier to make this video. But following the natural trail. Through the tree. Once you see it, you always see it. If you've never seen it, somebody's pretty much got to show you how to look to see it. But I can see the natural trail just in these open pastures. Even if there's not a rut in there, I can see just how the grass is laying and stuff. But you go through the trees. This is how you track. Okay, because animals follow that natural trail. And animals need everything you need to survive. They need shelter, they need food, and they need water. And an animal doesn't go out of its way to go to the movies and then come back and go on with its happy life. Okay, when you're out in the woods like that, you got to pick up on those understanding nature. Okay? But that's part of navigation. And then I'm also going understanding nature right away. Okay? This is what I'm talking. You need to know how animals react. Like I say, they're an awful good warning system. I'm not talking about your dogs barking. I'm talking about the wild animals. Okay? They react to things coming into their environment. Okay? And if it's hostile, of course, if it's not hostile, just like anybody who's been hunting, You're out in the woods, and after about a half hour, the animals are pretending you're not even there. But you need to be able to read their reaction. Okay, I'm on my horses. My horses will react a lot here and know something's there long before I will. Okay? I understand the nature and how animals behave. That's part of my warning system. All right. Another skill that's very important, obviously. Hunting, fishing, and I put trapping in there too. And obviously being able to make your own clothes. But hunting, you're going to have to eat. Okay? If you like eating bugs, I guess you'll be hunting bugs, whatever. But you're going to have to eat. All right? And any human being that does eat meat knows after a couple days you really crave it. All right. An easy way to get meat obviously is fishing if you're next to a water source. That's why I have fishing tackle in my bug out bag and stuff. Plus I have my long-term supplies, fishing and stuff, fishing poles and stuff like that. But fishing's very important. All these skills, like I say, these are skills that I had learned growing up to endure, working in the heat and the cold, getting up early in the morning, staying up late at night. Just crazy. I mean, Carol Prince, I don't know anything about hunting, but I can throw a line to the best of them. Well, you said you got guns, and I'm sure you can clean an animal. I'm sure you know where its chest is or its head is. Okay? If not, be like Get Overboard. Send your husband out to go shoot a chicken. You shot a chicken? But anyway, people will figure it out. I'm sure you'll be just fine, Carol. But you're only 4 miles from Fort Bragg. You got a lot of people around there. Oh, have you seen it? I forgot to ask you last week. Have you seen any more type of, I don't know, excessive military movements or anything like that? Any extra Humvees or convoys leaving the base or anything like that? Extra choppers? I'm just wondering. I don't live around that stuff. So people that say there's extra military activity, I don't know if there is or not. Okay. Trapping too. Trapping's important. I mean, it's a good way to get clothing. I mean, I guess you could shoot it, but trapping is a good skill to have too. I just put that one in there with hunting and fishing. And then, of course, processing your food, being able to make it last, and growing a garden and be able to preserve that food. And if you can, it might be a little tough if we have to go back to the colonial days. We may have to go back to root cellars, stuff like that. Like that way. We got 23 days left before the election. It is time. If you got any quick, Carol Prince, there's been a ton of Chinooks flying over. Yeah. Yeah. What about do they got C5s there? I don't even know. Do they got C5 and C141s? What's the Air Force base that's next there? God, it's been so long, I can't remember. But anyway, something's going down. I didn't want to talk about that tonight because that's just one subject I want to stay off for a little bit because this country and this world's so screwed up. I just thought I'd do a video on lone wolfing since there's a lot of preppers that look, I don't want to say look down on lone wolfing. They just feel it can't be done. Now, I don't plan on being a lone wolf my whole life. But when SHTF hits and people are the most dangerous thing to be around, I'm not going to be around them. When I get to where I want a homestead, and you can trust a man when his handshake again. People can be trusted. Of course, I'll join society. But to me, lone wolf is just way safer. I have the skills, I have the abilities, and I definitely have the mindset. Anyway, processing and preserving and growing your food, and then you need to know about berries, your wild edibles, and that's one thing, Carol. I know he's brought up doing a wild edible video, but there's nothing out here. The Indians didn't even live out here. All right. If you look on an old Indian map, this area, no tribe claimed this area because it can sustain the population that we got now. But if you had 10,000 Indians in your tribe, it's not going to sustain you. It's the sand hills, okay? Anyway, get all the information you need on processing your food. And like I said, if you go on the internet, print it out on your printer, write it down, get books, whatever. Because when electronics don't work, you don't want to have all your stuff stored on your hard drive. Because they ain't going to help you now. Okay, I went to understanding nature, animal behavior, and another thing about understanding nature is the weather. Understanding signs of the coming weather. Now, of course, us who've been around a while, and dealt with season after season after season, we know a cold front brings usually moisture in. We know the way a storm circulates, especially you start understanding the weather, okay? And that's very important. I mean, some of the biggest snowstorms I've ever dealt with it was 60 degrees in the morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's pouring down snow. Crazy time. Cold air, cold front, squeezes the moisture out of the air. Carol, I was used to be Pope Air Force Base, but they shut that base down some years back. Really? So they have no fixed wing there at all? It's all helicopters? See, that's the thing between the Air Force and the Army. The Army can have helicopters, but the Army doesn't have fixed wing aircraft. That's the Air Force. Well, maybe the Army. No, I think the Air Force does C-130s too, don't they? I don't think the Army even has them. Now, the Marine Corps has rotary and fixed wing. But the Army, if I remember correctly, they just have rotary, and the Air Force did the fixed wing for them. Your brother used to be stationed there, huh, Carol? Is that what brought you to Fayetteville? I was asking. Were you and your husband, in the Army there? Or were you a military brat? I guess I never understood why, if you weren't attached to the military, why you lived in a military town. So, but I just wondering about that. So, but anyway, and then another thing I got on here is horse skills. Skills with animals, period. Know how to milk a cow. It's more than just okay. It's knowing how to understand and deal with cow too. I had one cow at this place I milked, and she was a bitch for months, at least 2 months. Always trying to get at me and stuff, just cranky old thing. And she was my best friend after the 2 months, and the best cow we had. Gave out the most milk. But the first 2 months, she tried me. And anyway, horse skills. I'm not walking. And I think after horse skills are going to be important anyway. Carol Prince, my oldest brother, joined the Army and got stationed at Bragg, and we moved here in April of 1974. Okay. Well, that was a long time ago. I was just, what was second grade back then? Let's see. I've been 7 years old. But yeah, I tell you what, it's a nice area, but yeah, there's some places that aren't going to be safe. This is one thing. We get hit with a nuclear strike. Okay. Fort Bragg is gone. They hit military bases. They're going to hit Fort Bragg. They're going to hit Lejeune. They're going to hit Pendleton. Fort Lewis will get hit. So just something to be aware of, Carol. Like you say, it's not your fault that they're going to be bombing Fort Bragg. It's the people in charge. Oh, we need to end this. So we need to take our country back. I'm not going to get into that, but this are some of the skills, me as a lone wolf, that I find important. Okay. But getting on the subject, I want to be able to retire and enjoy myself. I don't want to have to fight a war. I wish the Democrats would just realize they're going to lose the election and we can get our country back without having to sit there and fight a war. Like I saw this meme with Charlie Brown and Snoopy sitting looking at the sunset, and they go, in a month we'll know whether we can afford groceries or we'll be at World War III. And the people in charge don't even care. They act like they're not existing in reality. They do not know the implications of their actions that they are doing. They don't care about us. That's what the people in the South, because of the hurricanes, are enduring. And now Joe Biden says if you say anything about that the government's not doing its part, just basically telling the truth, it's disinformation. So basically, if you disagree with the government, it's disinformation. That's how far we've gone. Nobody has a right to a second opinion. Nobody has a right to an opinion at all. I'm not going to get onto this tonight. Like I say, I gotta get up at 4 a.m. because I gotta work cows. So I was in the Marines for 8 years. I was in Camp Lejeune. I got there in November of '86, and I left there in March of '90, I think it was. Yeah, I was in there for that contaminated water thing. I'm so sick of hearing that stupid thing. I guess it did the absolute opposite for me because I don't have any problems. Contaminated water, I drink so much of that water. Anyway, just another thing where people can sit there and get free money. Free money. Hey, we'll give you free money. Don't worry about the world about to blow up. Here, look at this free money. But like I say, a lone wolf is just another way to deal with SHTF. If you got a mag, more power to you. I hope it works for you. I hope lone wolf works for me. I lived a lone wolf life my whole life. I lived a lifestyle my whole life, and it's worked out for me. Now I live in an area and work in a job that requires you to be a lone wolf. I'm good to go. Okay? If little old ladies out here, widow ladies, can make it just fine for 2 or 3 months by themselves out here, I think I could do just fine. Can't be a lone wolf. Well, maybe you can't. If you need people that bad, then maybe you can't. I'm going to survive for the other side. And I'm going to be productive and help society out with the skills I have. But if society, why am I a lone wolf? Because of the way society is now. When society changes and decides to get along again together, and you can trust your neighbor and stuff. When human beings become trustworthy again, then maybe I'll take a chance of trusting them. But until then, I'm staying a lone wolf. Anyway, like I say, I got a busy day tomorrow. I got to go, everybody. Everybody have an awesome night. Appreciate you being here. I'll be back again for Friday Night Live. Dukes of Hazzard Friday Night Live, and I'll get some videos done this week if it slows down a little bit. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here. Everybody have a great night.